You have to sleep, we have to eat, take a rest as well. But it's all about having the most important standard in our life. I mean, making all our schedules being centered in the prayer. So the prayer becoming the most important standard and the most important time in your life. So setting on that prayer, then the rest of the other schedules coming out from there. That is the principle of making your 24 hours as a prayer. Okay, so let's keep meditating and enjoying the blessing of the salvation and the acceptance while praising God. Let's sing. God's chosen few. God's chosen few. God's new beginning for all the ages. The ones who do His will, His one desire. God's hope to save the world. You, the remnant, shine bright the light to those lost in the dark, needing Jesus inside their blinded lives. Shine it brightly unto this word of God, because this light that you're shining will save all the world. Stand and arise and shine the light of Christ for the glory of the Lord. Everyone will see you. Stand and arise. Stand tall before the world, for God will bring restoration to all nations because of you. God's chosen few. God's new beginning for all the ages. The ones who do His will, His one desire. God's hope to save the world. You, the remnant, shine bright light to those lost in the dark, needing Jesus inside their blinded lives. Shining brightly unto this word of night, because this light that you're shining will give life to all. Stand and arise and shine the light of Christ for the glory of the Lord. Everyone will see you. Stand and arise. Stand tall before the world, for God will bring restoration to all nations because of you. Let's sing Eternal Promise. 자, 렘넌트들 자리에 앉아주시고 같이 찬양하겠습니다. 저희 영접기도랑 이 찬양이 한 주간 동안 묵상이 됐어요. So I kept on meditating upon the lyrics of this phrase and also the acceptance prayer throughout this week, according to the pulpit flow. Let's sing together. You gave your promise for all time and poured out never-ending grace. I can hardly tell in words, but Lord receives my praise. I'm lacking and I'm weak, and problems fill my heart with strife. I need to be with you, to dwell in you for all my life. Your grace lets me on the sky. Lift his holy name on high. Lift his holy name on high. I have been saved by God's grace. In my heart is spirit lives. Glory and power and praise be given to thee. 영원한 주님의 약속 끝없는 주님의 은혜. I can hardly tell in words, but Lord, receive my praise. I'm lacking and I'm weak, but still my heart is right. I need to be with you, to dwell in you for all my life. Your grace leads me on and shows me the way. As you watch over me, your love keeps me safe. How can I tell of all that your love shows? Never could I forget your love that really flows. Sing praise to Jesus Christ, with your head raised to the sky. Lift his holy name on high. Lift his holy name on high. I have been saved by God's grace. In my heart is spirit lives. Glory and power and praise be given to him. Amen. Okay, my job done. My mission today was not crying, and I succeeded. So now let's turn to the CVDIP Bartizan. May I call on Dr. Faith?
Thank you, AP Paul. Hi, everybody. Let's welcome to the 3-day weekends CVDIP Bartizan. So today's CVDIP Bartizan's turn is Priscilla Yoon. And before calling her on the stage, I would like to give you guys a little bit about introduction about Priscilla Yoon. Priscilla Yoon is one of the few and special Korean batches that actually decided to transfer to HMIS during the pandemic season. So it's very special because for the first few years, they were not able to actually fly on and land on the Philippines. So they had to stay in Korea for a couple of years and then did their first years in Korea for HMIS. But after the pandemic became a little bit loosened, they were able to safely fly in the Philippines. So from then on, she actually started her another covenant journey, continuous journey, but in HMIS. Now she has been successfully attending HMIS, and now she's in year 12 and about to be graduating this year. And before calling her on the stage, I would like to introduce today's very special panels as well. Our first panel is our dearest principal mom, Emily. And our second panel is a very, very unexpected, but sure to be the successful one because she's about to make her debut as a panel today, Catherine Barate. She has recently presented her CVDIP Bartizan, and as a senior, I believe that she will be a good mentor and senior as a witness to guide one of our juniors in our church. Now, without any further ado, let's call Priscilla Yoon on the stage. Please welcome.
Christ morning, everyone. I'm Priscilla Yoon. First of all, I give thanks to God for allowing me to share my CVDIP forum. I accepted Jesus as my master when I was 4 years old, and at that time, my mom served as a 사역자 in the church, so I lived at church almost 24 hours, just like Remnant Samuel. But at that time, I didn't know the meaning of Jesus Christ accurately, but I just loved to play in the church. And in the year of 2012, my mom and I left the church with having no choice because of my father, who is an unbeliever. So from then on, I could no longer go to church, and I started to live a life like an unbeliever, growing further and further away from God. And at the age of 15, God allowed a turning point in my life. He guided me to receive training at RUTC because I faced a problem that I could no longer attend school normally. So I transferred to the school called RSTS at Trust Church. There were some difficult time to adjust in the new environment, but I seemed to be adjusting well. But after a year, spiritual problems that I was unaware of began to come out. Since I cannot get out of the thoughts and unbeliefs that I have with my own strength, I came to have 1 week concentration with one elder from the church. Worship was the only schedule that I had, and only schedule that I had for a week, and I couldn't remember what I held on to from the word. Yet the time was the time that I came to have answer of the Christ, turning it as my master, my answer, and not just the Christ I know. At that time, Matthew chapter 16, verse 16 became my lifelong confidence. And at the same time, I have come to hold on to the vision of world evangelization that turns the absolute impossibility to the absolute possibility. I was able to meditate on the word that the fundamental of absolute impossibility is from Genesis chapter 3, 6, 11, and that the only solution to the problem of absolute impossibility is only Jesus Christ. So I held on to these scriptures. Let me continue to share my journey. When I try to look and really start to ponder of what is really the talent, and when I ask God, God started to give me the answer through the word, and it's the answer of being the business person who will save this world. Yet actually I don't have the clear thought and direction about it, but I am holding on to this covenant of being a business person. In the year of 2020, during the pandemic, following and writing the flow of the word, the answer of churchalization just starts to follow, and within that, to also have the answer of globalization, I was able to move on to HMIS. When I came to HMIS, of course, there were also hard time because of different language and culture. But holding on to the absolute possible covenant of the Christ, I was able to gain the strength to challenge into my studies and in this field And when I was grade 11 during the general science time, I have learned a lot, but then for me, the subject biology seems to be so fun. When I was pondering about my major, I was thinking that I couldn't learn that much and could not study deeper other subjects. So I ended up choosing biology in some sense that it's worth studying. But I started to have this question that God has given me the dream to be the business person, but then I was choosing this major of biology. And I was wondering what is the connection of this to the covenant of the church. But through the forum of my pulpit pastor, I was able to confirm that this is all for the sake of raising the covenant of the church and covenant of the school that does the holy meditation movement. with embracing the covenant of 1 million healing specialized evangelism disciple and silver tongue. So my dream is to be like Priscilla, who can give and even risk my own life for the evangelist, along with the dream of the 1 million healing specialized evangelism disciple. So I grab hold onto the image of spiritual summit, who is recognized by the unbeliever as the one who is filled with God's Spirit, just like Remnant Joseph. To build up this image, I'm enjoying the system of RUTC within the blessing of the church. I give thanks to God for the blessing of spiritual legacy from my lay pastors to my pulpit pastor, to RMs, the teachers, and also study Bartizan team that has been with me in this journey of CVDIP together. To God be the glory.
Thanks, Priscilla. That was very short and concise. Now let's move on to the discussion and question time. Any questions from the audience first? I believe that there would be many interesting questions from the audience, because many of you probably would be still struggling because of like some issues. And during her presentation, you probably have heard her say, because of this problem, because of the problem, because of some problem, there were a couple of times that she seems to be struggling, and you need to ask how she actually overcame those problems and how the problem turned it into answer. No questions from the audience? I see AP Paul raising his hand.
Get ready. Well, don't panic. Yes, that's actually the same point of curiosity that triggered me while hearing the presentation from Priscilla. So just one, recommendation that it would be, since this is CVDIP presentation, not as in a world setup, but as in the church environment with the prayer backgrounds and with your leaders, with the pastor, and with your colleagues. So it would be much better if you are able to share your personal prayer journey experience that you had throughout your lifetime journeys. I mean, lifetime problems. Okay, well, that was just one suggestion. And it's not like I wanted, well, my question is not actually from there. My question could be interesting for you too. Where do you think the biology begins from? The beginning of biology. I want your answer.
I think the beginning of biology is God, because God made the heavens and the earth.
That's right. That's the answer I wanted to receive. You're going to be clear with that. God created the heavens and the earth. That's the beginning of biology. Well, I mean, that is biology, actually. The biology the world talks about is just a systematic knowledge, but what you have to learn is not just that. Just like the message we received a while ago, you have to keep on editing, planning, and designing. Well, my tip here, my feedback is as an assistant pastor, not just as an audience. And this forum is something that I'm always sharing with the remnants. Like, we have to find the real contents all anew, brand new, with the principle of the creation. So it's not just the biology, but biology from the kingdom of God. Or music, not just as a music in this world, but music recreated in the kingdom of God. So I would say, well, my term could be wrong, but just to give you a glimpse, maybe it should be something like creationology. All right? That has to be edited. That much, the principle of the creation and God as the Word and God as the Creator should be fully edited in you and rooted down in you before the biology itself. All right? So, well, it's not really a question, but it was more likely my advice for you. So, and it was very happy to hear your presentation because it was, I would say, was like a perfect model example of a high school student presentation of CVDIP. So, you just made a remark and set a standard for all high schoolers. And that was good. And thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience?
I really moved because I was the one who played with Priscilla when we were young. Yeah. Okay, through the presentation you give, I clearly see what you are holding of in your CVDIP, but I have a question about college. Okay, you're preparing college right now, and you're about to graduate, and you will go to college, university this year. And while you're preparing for the college, what you grapple the covenant of college, and what do you want to? What are you praying for? The leaving behind a masterpiece in college life.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Actually, I haven't thought about the masterpiece that I will leave behind at the year of college. So yeah, I will start thinking about.
Because the reason of the question is last year's WRC Pastor Yu said in college life we should live masterpiece. So yeah, I was praying also, and you can pray for this time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, then following up AP Poll's suggestion, I have a question to Priscilla. You mentioned, especially when you were addressing your vision, you mentioned about you faced your absolute impossibility that turned into absolute possibility. And how you actually managed to be able to realize your absolute impossibility and what sort of specific prayers or practice turned that absolute impossibility into absolute possibility. Could you elaborate more?
Oh. Actually, when my spiritual problems came out, when I was in RSTS, that time I don't know how to explain this, but I just realized that I'm really absolutely impossibility because of the root of Stance chapter 3, 6, 11. Yes. So by realizing that fact, I just I was just able to hold that Christ is the only answer, and yes, Christ. Oh, yeah. I cannot find. I don't know how to answer this question. Sorry.
Through meeting with Priscilla, I was really surprised that she specifically explained this experience and how she actually came up with a very clear vision. That her description was that she found out that she's a total trash. Like the spiritual problem that is describing is realizing about herself that she's a total trash, that there's no hope inside of her. She tried this and that, everything, but she finally realized that there is no hope inside of her. It's a total trash, total depravity, that we are full of trash. It's not only Priscilla, but everyone is actually like that. But she personally, by experiencing her endless spiritual problems, that she doesn't even want to worship, that she doesn't even want to stay inside of the RUTC, she doesn't even want to do anything, that she realized that she's her total depravity. And at that time, there were a couple of senior deaconesses inside of our church that they gathered together, centered on Priscilla, and started concentration by simply giving the worship. There's nothing much, but they started concentrating. But through that endless concentration, one day, the realization came to Priscilla that what she experienced was the total depravity that was described in Genesis chapter 3, 6, and 11. And she was finally able to interpret her problem, her personal problem, by the interpretation of the Bible interpretation, that the only answer to solve the very problem was to grab hold onto the Christ. And it was very clear of how she actually has described and experienced. So I really wanted her to share about this experience more, because this was the very beginning of her realization of the covenant that links to the vision, which I hope that all the high schoolers sitting here right now have a little bit of common sense about what it means by total depravity, that they find only the trash themselves inside of yourself. But there is an answer. That's natural. That's how we are. That's who we are, because we are total depravity. So that I actually want to elaborate more from Priscilla, but it turns out I did it for her. But that was really a great forum that I was really giving thanks to God. Okay, now, any more questions from the audience? I see Rebecca raising her hand.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation first, but my question is simple. Like, with your CVDIP, like, how did you interpret your CVDIP with the life inside of RUTC? How did you interpret the life of RUTC within your CVDIP journey?
Uh, uh, mm, my CVDIP journey, as I mentioned in the presentation, my CVDIP journey started in the RUTC, and I cannot explain my CVDIP journey without explaining about the life of RUTC. But the life of RUTC is life of RUTC helps me to find my CVDIP, but I don't know how to interpret the my CVDIP with the life of RUTC. Or I can answer is just my CVDIP has started in the life of RUTC.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, it's quite big questions. But I like more detail about is that what kind of system in the RUTC is the most helpful for you to find out your CBDIP? Even one or two are okay.
I think the scheduled worship and Sunday worship helps me the most to find my CVDIP.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's move on to the panels.
Grace morning po everyone and Priscilla. First of all, I would like to commend and congratulate you for greatly presenting your CVDIP. So you're planning to take biology right for college. And I just have one question for you. Because when I was in senior high school, I took up STEM strand. And because of that, I decided to also take a course that is related to STEM, and that was MedTech. Actually, it was not something that I really ponder of about, and not something that I choose like that course. I did not choose that course, having the agreeing heart with the church. And before finding out my CVDIP, my course has been a burden to me because I couldn't seem to know why God led me to this course. So I wanted to ask, since I wanted to really know clearly, since there is no STEM strand offered here, I wonder what factors or reason why did you decide to take up biology? Like, even though it's not really no STEM strand offered here, or did you also try to consider other course other than biology? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Actually, now I'm taking gas strength, and yes, but there was, as I mentioned in the presentation, there was a last year there was a time when I learned general science, and I learned through the time I learned chemistry, physics, biology, but it was very little. But I was, but biology was very attractive to me, so I was able to choose biology as my major. But I just said there in our school there is STEM strand, so I also was pondering how I can take this course in college, but God hear my prayer and prepare all things um, um, within the blessing of the church. So I was able to study physics, biology, 또 뭐 있지? Chemistry with Dr. Faith for 3 or 4 months. So yes, so I was able to prepare for that.
That's all my question po. Thank you, Priscilla.
Okay, Christ morning, Priscilla, and to the audience. I'd like to add the questions of our panel, my co-panel, Miss Catherine, in benefit for those younger remnants who are in the same situation with Priscilla, who has this agreeing heart to enroll in HMIS for the senior high, since we don't have STEM. So it's thankful we have blessed meeting with our Dr. Faith, who co-worked with us, established study Bartizan. So those who would like to take GAS, since Dep Ed is requiring to have elective related to the course that you'll be taking in college. So we have this elective taken from the STEM subjects, which is honored by the universities in the Philippines. With that, the co-work of our church and the school, we applied for a special permit from the Department of Education so that when they go to college, they are acknowledged as GAS with STEM elective subjects. So those who would like to take GAS, do not worry because you'll be recognized as GAS with elective STEM subject. So it's a blessing. It's really blessed meeting with our Dr. Faith. And of course, with the remnants who really resolved to have agreeing heart with the church because they wanted to have this spiritual preparation, the 3 summits that are the message guides us today. So it's a help. This is my question for you. That's not my question, just a help for you. I'm just wondering about your covenant, Romans 16:3-4. It's Priscilla and Aquila who are the co-worker, fellow worker of Paul in his evangelism journey. And you change. So I'm just thinking, how are you going to link this biology to the business field, which was your former covenant or the original covenant? So would you like to share it so that the younger remnants and the other remnants like you could do also?
Thank you for your question. I was also pondering about the connection between the biologicals and the covenant that I hold onto, which is the business person who will say the word. And actually, I haven't thought about after the graduation of the college because I was so busy to prepare the entrance exam. But the thing that I hold on to is Silvertown and and the healing ministry centers. So I pray that may I use as the one who will raise and build the Silvertown and the healing ministry centers. Yes, that's all.
Thank you. There is follow-up question since February, March, April, May, June, you will have your graduation. And after this 5 months, you are going to college. And we are being guided by the flow of the 2024 message to leave behind eternal masterpiece. So as Remnant Priscilla, who is very good in praising, who is very obedient in the school, very studious, we have that Priscilla. And then, so would you like to share a specific system, spiritual and study related to your professional in the future, like that, so that these remnants could learn also from you, since the message is about 3 summits. So how are you going to apply the message for today? Not only today, but the flow of the message. Yeah. So that would be your eternal masterpiece to HMIS, not only as a very good praise leader and the remnant who is very good in studies, like that.
Uh, um, Actually, I didn't do much things to study well and all to be a spiritual summit. I just enjoyed the life of RTC, and I think it's all by God's grace, because as I mentioned, I was really absolutely impossibility. So, but the only thing that I want to share to the remnants is, if you just hold onto the covenant accurately, God will lead your lifelong journey. So, yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Priscilla, for taking this courage to be the presenter for the CVDIP Bartizan. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, panel. Thank you, presenter. Now, because we've started the message already due to they have an audition, so now let's get back to the message right away. Thank you all.